Hello everyone, I am Park Seni, the representative of Park Seni Mind Coaching. Today, I'm going to explain the fundamental laws of how this world works. The reason I'm giving this explanation is to help you study harder and live your life more beautifully. So first of all, I ask a lot of students, why do you think it's necessary to attend a prestigious university? What would you say if I asked you to explain that? Most people give these answers because they want to go to a good university and live a happier, more stylish life. But in fact, if you look for people who are living a cool life without graduating from a prestigious university, you will definitely find many of them. So that's not a very fundamental and accurate answer. So, in order to truly understand why going to a prestigious university is beneficial, as I mentioned earlier, it's essential to have a proper understanding of how this world works and to possess accurate knowledge about it. Now, let me explain how the world operates. It might sound grand, but let's start by looking at why we, as humans, are born. So, let me explain how the world works. It might sound a bit grand, but let's start by looking at why we, as humans, are born. Why are we born? Because our parents gave birth to us. That's right. Why did our parents have us? That's because they loved each other. So what is love? Love is when a man and a woman reach a state of deep focus and immersion with each other. So they don't want to be apart and they don't want to break up. We continue to feel these emotions. So, through this state of deep focus and immersion, life is born. All of you watching this, and I as well, are beings who were born because our parents experienced that deep focus and immersion. Right. So, while humans are born from a state of deep focus and immersion, that's not the end of the story. We come into this world as very weak and helpless beings. Other animals can hop around as soon as they're born, but we humans can't even crawl at first. We can only cry, and we can't even hold up our heads. So, those newborns, especially the mothers and fathers too, show their maternal instincts by watching over them all night. They can feed them all night and stay awake with their eyes wide open. So, where does that strength come from? Why does that happen? It's because the mother feels a complete state of deep focus and immersion with her child. So this state of high concentration and immersion is the fundamental force that created and sustains human life. So, if there were no state of deep focus and immersion, nothing would come to be. If someone asks you what life is, some people might say it like this: life is memories. Well, that expression sounds nice, so let's take a look. What is a memory? In that state of deep focus and immersion, when something happens, even if other things are forgotten, that event remains vividly in memory and becomes a long-term memory. So, in the end, if that deep focus and immersion hadn't been present from the beginning, memories couldn't have been created at all. That's why our lives are continuously shaped by this state of deep focus and immersion. Let me give you a few examples of how this state of deep focus and immersion is happening in the world. Right now. Do you like movies? People really love movies, and I also quite enjoy them. People who love movies can go to the theater, pay for a ticket, and say they enjoyed the movie, or that it wasn't fun. What kind of movie do we say is fun? When we watch a movie that puts us in a state of deep focus and immersion, we say it's fun. What happens to us when we watch such a movie? We feel a sense of time distortion. It feels like I've really immersed myself. For example, it feels like only about 20 minutes have passed, but a whole movie has ended. When we watch a movie that has completely and sufficiently put us in a state of deep focus and immersion, we experience time distortion. It means that there was enough focus and immersion. So, shall we look at another area? There are a lot of people in the coffee shop. So, you could be chatting with those friends right now, but what's the purpose of that conversation? I met my friend because I wanted to feel that state of deep focus and immersion, and we would be having a conversation there. So if that deep focus and immersion can't be well established between friends, what happens if we confirm that that friendship will probably break soon? So humans are almost living for this deep focus and immersion. Why do we drive nice cars or ride expensive bikes? I'm someone who likes cars too. Then, we can fully feel the parts that require a higher level of concentration and immersion, usually in sports cars or in more expensive cars. We are highly focused and immersed when we see such fast speeds and luxurious interiors. So even if it costs more, you cannot help but acknowledge its value and want to enjoy it. So the world continues to revolve around this pattern of high concentration and immersion. Another thing is that I want to wear cooler clothes. Fashion designers are constantly thinking about how they can create amazing outfits that can put people into a state of high focus and immersion. They're always researching and pondering this. It's the same when you turn on the TV. PDs must be working very hard right now to increase viewer ratings. And to be praised as an even more amazing producer, you need to show the ability to put others into a state of high focus and immersion, making people sit in front of the TV for long periods of time, completely absorbed. So, we must keep in mind that this state of high concentration and immersion is a very fundamental law of how this world operates. So now you understand why going to a prestigious university gives you more competitiveness, right? This is because it is easier to create a state of high concentration and immersion when standing in front of others than for people who cannot speak English. So, when you make a request or ask for something from others, you can easily create a state of higher concentration and immersion so they can let go of their critical awareness and resistance more, and so they can listen more obediently and make requests in that way, so you can expect more and more development and such things. When we're young, we really don't understand these values. It's really unfortunate and sad that they only perceive studying as something they have to do just because others say so. It's not just about becoming the best and creating a state of high focus and immersion. This world is very diverse and colorful. So, in any field, even if you don't go to college, if you have your own experiences and know-how that you've developed, and if you can make others feel a high level of focus and immersion with that, then people will recognize you as an expert. They will see you as a true expert. And because of that, they will think, I want to invest my time and money to gain more of that person's experience and make their knowledge my own. The teacher is not saying that studying is the only way to succeed. You start to think that you want to invest your money and time to gain more of that person's experience and make their knowledge your own. The teacher is not saying that studying is the only way to succeed. Of course, what the teacher does is to elevate the student's mental strength and enhance their focus. It's true that they are someone who can greatly help you get into a prestigious university, but they're not just a rigid person. If you can create a state of high focus and immersion in your own area, that's what really matters. This is how I actually guide them, but realistically, there are very few young students who can come to this realization. Such students are very few, and as they grow older, they come to realize these truths. The state of high focus and immersion in the world, the fact that we are continuously returning to that state. When I tell students who are not fully prepared at a young age that they shouldn't go to high school or college and should just make something right now, they will feel very embarrassed and even absurd. So, for the students watching this video, always keep in mind the principles that the teacher has shared about how the world operates. If you truly understand that studying hard now will greatly help you create a state of high focus and immersion when you stand in front of others later on, then your efforts will be very valuable. If you genuinely grasp this fact, then studying hard right now will be incredibly worthwhile. And even when you go to college and start your professional life, you should always check if you are indeed creating that state of high focus and immersion better than others. Are you continuously working hard enough in your field to be considered an expert? If you keep assessing these aspects and put in the effort, then you can truly become an amazing person. Don't view the world narrowly, look at it more broadly. So, to summarize, what should you always remember? Having the mindset that I will become an expert who can create a state of high focus and immersion in my field in the future is really admirable and a correct attitude to have. So, don't just have a vague thought that you'll prove something at some point in the future. Let me add one more thing. If you're a student studying right now, you should commit to studying with a level of focus and immersion that's even more impressive than others. I will become someone who can study even more impressively than others, maintaining a high level of focus and immersion without missing a single moment. If you had solidly practiced and implemented these things from a young age, then by the time you reach your 20s, you would confidently stand as an impressive person who can create a state of high focus and immersion in a field that everyone recognizes. Yes, because the teacher also realized that part. I feel like I've been able to live a life since my 20s that no one envies a bit earlier than others. So I hope you all gained a significant insight. If you don't quite understand, I believe watching this video a few more times will help you get it. That's it for today. See you next time.